So having talked about the do while loop, the next on our list is line 16, which is the map method. I'm just going to click on clear console here, and what I'm going to do is that I'm going to delete these guys because we are done with them for now. I'm going to push down this guy, this for each method, so that I have a space where we can work with. The map method, just like the name implies, is actually a method on iterables. In fact, let me write it out in a comment. Iterable. It comes from the word iterate. So iterate simply means to loop over something. So an iterable is something that you can loop over, right? Something that you can go from one element to the other. So let's say final numbers is equal to, we've been using list actually. So this time around, let's use set, our curly bracket. So let's say 1, 10, 2, and then let's say 5. So this is a set, and a set is basically something that is an iterable because we can iterate over these elements, right? The map method is a method that you can call on an iterable, right? And what it is going to do is that it is going to loop through the items in that collection, and then it is going to grab each item according to the logic you give it. Anytime it grabs an item, it will use your logic to transform that item into another item. Now when it is done transforming all the items, it is going to return an iterable containing those transformed items. A good use of the map method is, for instance, we have a set of numbers. So what if we want to have final numbers squared? So one thing we could do is this. We could say 1 times 1, 10 times 10, 2 times 2, and 5 times 5. So if we print out numbers squared, I mean, it should basically give us the squares of these numbers. So I'm just going to click on run. So you can see I have 1 times 1, which is 1. I have 10 times 10, which is what? 100. And I have 2 times 2, which is what? 4. And then I have 5 times 5, which is what? 25. Now, just imagine a situation whereby you have 5, you have 30, you have 35, you have 40, and then you have it up to 1000. Are you going to be doing this guy up to 1000 times? No, you can't. So that's where the map method comes in, right? So one way we could just achieve this result is what? Using the map method. So what I can do is this. So I can say final result is equal to numbers.map. In case you don't know, map in that as a data type, when you talk about key value pairs, is the same thing as dictionaries in Python. If you are coming from a Python background, just know that your dictionaries are the same thing as maps in that when we talk about key value pairs. Now for this map method, you use a lowercase m, but for the map data type, which is key value pairs, you use a capital letter. Now the syntax for writing a map method, first of all, you put up your map all in lowercase, and then you put up a bracket. Now you have to have a function here that grabs every element, and I'm going to call each of those elements number. Now after this, I'm going to have a block. So inside this block, for each of these numbers, what do I want to do? I want to return number times number, and I'll put a semicolon. So if I click on run, it is going to loop through everything here. Each of these elements for each loop or for each round is represented by this number. Now inside this block, I'm using a return keyword. We've not talked about return keyword, but an overview of what a return keyword means is just stop executing the code, come back with this. So inside this block, we use the return keyword, and then we return number times number, which is going to give us the square of that number. So if I click on run, I'm going to have 100, 4, and 25. So what this map returns is iterable of the result of each of these multiplication. We are going to use map method extensively when we start writing Flutter, and we are going to talk more about it. So that's that about the map method. So the next on our list, which is the last one, is the forEach method. What I'm just going to do is that I'm going to delete these guys. So forEach method is also used on iterables. I can still say final names is equal to, let's have a set of names, Emmanuel. Remember that we said that the basic difference between a set and a list is that you cannot repeat items in a set, but you can repeat items in a list. So Emmanuel, Joe, Daniel. So if I say names dot for each, the same way the map method works, it is going to give me each of those items, and let me call it name. Now, what do I want to do with each item? Well, for this case, let us just print it out. So if I click on run, it is just going to print out these things for me. So for each actually simplifies a for in loop for us, because on line 5, we could still say for string name in names, we want to print name. The statement on line 7 to line 9 and the statement on line 11, they are what? The same thing. Let me just print a dash so that we can separate these two statements. So if I click on run, let's see what it's going to give us. So we have Emmanuel, Joe, Daniel. Emmanuel, Joe, Daniel. So the for each method is kind of a simplified for in loop. The idea is that when you just want to go through an iterable or a collection, and then for each element there you just want to do something, you could just call the for each method on that collection, and then it gives you this function, and inside this function, inside this parameter, you receive each item, and then inside your block you tell that this is what I want to do with each item. In this case, we are just printing out the item, right? So this brings us to the end of our looping statements. I actually had to do 2 videos for this looping statements because it's kind of long, and we always try to go deeper into how these things work. So thank you for sticking with me till the end of this sub chapter, which is chapter 3b. In the next chapter, we'll be going into chapter 3c, which is going to be dealing with jumping statements, which include the break, the continue, I think the exit as well, and a few other ones that we'll be talking about. If you have not subscribed to my channel, I implore you to do so, and if you've not liked, I implore you to do so. If you have a suggestion on a way I could improve this channel, because I'm doing this stuff for you, the suggestions are welcome. Drop it on the comment section. I'm always going to check it and I'm going to consider it. If you find this video helpful, you can as well share it with your loved ones. I'll appreciate that. So see you in the next chapter. Bye.